Communities around the valley and nationwide are starting celebrations this weekend in honor of the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The national holiday in observance of the civil rights leader will be observed on Monday. So here with more on his legacy, President of the Youngstown-Mahoning County NAACP, James Brown. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, Dr. King would have been 97 years old this year. Right. How do you think he would feel about the state of our world today?
Oh, he wouldn't be happy at all. I mean, one of the things that he was basically doing for us was, as a leader and a teacher, trying to show us that equal rights were meant in all aspects. The first part of his campaign was basically those things that didn't cost anything: equal rights in public accommodations, voting, and things of that nature. But now, as when he was assassinated, he was trying to advocate for economic empowerment.
And so we've seen recent federal decisions like removing MLK Day and Juneteenth as free entry days at national parks.
Right.
Despite those actions by the government, why do you think it's still important for our society to honor his legacy?
Well, we have to continue what he started. There are many scholars like Dr. Claude Anderson with Powernomics. Taking away a day at a park, I mean, that's okay, but we have to advocate for ourselves and our economic empowerment. We become self-sufficient.
When we think about protests that we've seen with ICE, involving ICE, does it seem like his practice of nonviolence resistance is still alive at all?
Well, I think with ICE, those things are a little bit different because it deals with a lot of individuals who are here illegally, so that has a different connotation. What Dr. King was fighting for in the beginning was individuals who actually built this country. This is the 250th anniversary this year, and there's individuals who their families go back generations to the start of this country. So a little bit different.
I wonder, in terms of racial issues, how much progress have we seen since the days of Dr. Martin Luther King?
Well, the progress is there as long as the individuals can see that they do have an opportunity. He advocated for the rights, and you just have to go and enact those and make sure you're an advocate. That's why we advocate in so many different areas. And but at the same time, there's always going to be that pushback, and people have to understand that.
Do you think that his message of equality and unity may have gotten lost in recent years with how divided the country seems to be now?
Absolutely, yeah. There seems to be more of an identity politics. I was at an event a few days ago, and individuals stated that too many people are graduating from Facebook University, TikTok University, and all those things. They don't have any facts, and their emotions are leading the way.
What can parents do to kind of teach their children about this? Because sometimes a lot of kids don't even know history.
Right,
so
right.
Is there anything any advice you have for parents?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, education is the key. One of the things that one of our members has donated to us calendars from the Equal Justice Initiative, EJI.org. We have calendars at the office. They're $10 a piece. For an extra $5, you get a T-shirt. On the calendar is a historical fact of racial injustice 365 days. There's no 2 years that the calendars are the same. The kids can actually go to the library and look up these actions. Give an example, and what Dr. King was trying to remind us about is that all of the black towns in history that were self-sufficient, that were burned down, one in Georgia that was flooded, is where Lake Lanier is now. So, I mean, we have to learn about those things and understand that we've already done this before and we can do it again.
And looking forward to Black History Month, what events does the NAACP have coming up in that month, and how important is it to celebrate?
I had to bring my list because we have a lot of videos that were donated to us. Just going to go over. We still have on the PBS website and on YouTube, we still have the movie Freedom Summer, talking about the how the Voting Rights Act was helped out by individuals going to Mississippi to help them register to vote. We're doing our Get Out to Vote campaign midterm edition, but the movies are going to be Niagara Movement, the origin of the NAACP, Out of Darkness, Heavy as the Crown, versions 1 and 2, American Maroon, the Hidden Colors series, Hidden Colors 1 through 5. Number 6 is coming out in February. Somebody's going to donate that to us. 1803, 7 a.m., The Hidden History of Hip Hop. So those are all, 100 black towns that were burned and what they hid from you, and 100 inventions by Black Americans. So those are a library.
Yeah, all good things coming, definitely. All right, James, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.